Hello, my name is Richard Sanford. I'm the proprietor, along with my wife Tekla, of the Alma Rosa Winery and Vineyards. Our ranch is located in the Santa Rita Hills appellation, about 4.5 miles west of Buellton in the San Ynez Valley. We're sitting here in our plant room, which is a room made from straw bales. And the walls here are about 22 inches thick and make a very nice insulation. But it's great, a great kind of a structure to have from waste straw that's been harvested up in the Sacramento Delta. I came here originally 38 years ago to grow Burgundy Style Wines, recognizing that the climate of Burgundy was very similar. And it's the marine influence that's the critical issue here. The proximity to the ocean, the westerly winds coming off the ocean to moderate the growing climate is quite critical. I've been making wine, and it's pretty interesting that when I was a young winemaker, I wanted to make big wines, bold wines of impact. I have recognized over time that elegance is more important than impact. And the beautiful thing about the grapes growing in this region is that beautiful bright acid of the Santa Rita Hills. So I've started the Alma Rosa Winery. My wife Tekla and I started the Alma Rosa Winery with the idea in mind of Burgundy Style Wines. And you recognize that all of our wines are bottled in the same glass bottle so as to be more efficient in the use of glass. This is the antique green Burgundy bottle. And it's actually the first bottle that I've found that had a beautiful punt, at the same time a screw top cap. I was so discouraged with the amount of corked wine we were having. That is, wine that was bad because of a mustiness imparted by the cork. So thanks to the Australians and New Zealanders for doing such a terrific job of perfecting the screw top closure. When we decided upon the packaging for our new Alma Rosa wines, we decided to go entirely, this was 2.5 years ago, to go entirely with the twist-off cap. So all of the wines, white or red alike, are in the same Burgundy bottle, and you can tell what's in the bottle by the capsule color. And by the way, on the top of the capsule, you'll notice the universal recycling symbol. This is the green punt, and we are actually licensed by an outfit in Germany to use that on our wines. But the beauty of the grapes from the region are the wonderful bright acids and intense fruit. So these wines exhibit a beautiful fruit character and a beautiful bright acid that makes the wines really delicious with food. The first one would be a Pinot Gris. And the beautiful thing about this is, again, with the very bright acid, it's got a really wonderful Pinot Gris character. We call it Pinot Gris because it's more Alsatian style rather than Pinot Grigio, which would be from northern Italy. But it makes for a very wonderful aperitif wine. The second wine in our portfolio of wines is a Pinot Blanc. This is the Pinot Blanc from the La Encantada vineyard, which is about 4 miles to the west. You'll recognize that we do have a rose on the label. The name Alma Rosa actually recognizes the historical aspect of the Rancho Santa Rosa. All of our vineyards are on the original Spanish land grant, Rancho Santa Rosa. Alma in Spanish means soul. So the wine is actually a reflection of the soul of the rancho. And Alma is important. I think soulfulness, my wife and I feel that soulfulness is important for our wines and for the connection with the people who enjoy the wines. The second wine in our portfolio is a Pinot Blanc. Pinot Blanc grows in the Burgundy region in France. And this is a Pinot Blanc that is not quite as intense as Chardonnay, and with the modest use of oak, makes a very nice sort of neutral wine, great with scallops or something like that. Chardonnay is, of course, the white wine of Burgundy. And this Chardonnay from El Jabali Vineyard is our little vineyard here on the Rancho Jabali. And this exhibits a very typical sort of Santa Barbara style tropical fruit character. And there's a wonderful sort of tropical fruit. Sometimes, some years it's more melony, some years it's more sort of kiwi or banana. But again, with the use of a modest amount of oak, it makes a luscious wine. We do not do the malolactic fermentation, so all these wines have this appley sort of malic acid that tends to work very well with food. But this has the tropical fruit notes and again a modest amount of oak, so it's a delicious bottle of wine. Another interesting wine is our Pinot Noir Vin Gris, which is a literal translation meaning gray wine. I adopted the terminology from Champagne, actually, 100 years ago when they would make a champagne that wasn't absolutely clear. They would bottle it still and call it gray wine. It wasn't white, it wasn't red, it was in between. But this is a rosé style wine, again, that's crushed and pressed right away to get a bit of the color, and then it's tank fermented, and it's delicious as a luncheon wine. It's quite simple, but again, with the Pinot Noir grapes, of course, the color for the Pinot Noir comes from the skins. The juice of the grape is actually clear. And then the wine that this is the wine that I came to grow here 38 years ago, actually, the Pinot Noir. And it's curious that some people didn't realize that people were growing Pinot Noir here before the movie Sideways was actually filmed. And the characters in Sideways came here. This was their first stop along their road trip. But anyway, Pinot Noir is probably the most elegant, I think, of the red wines. That in this cool growing climate, that we preserve the beautiful acids of the grape. There is a berry-like character. Sometimes it's blueberries, sometimes it's raspberries, but there's a berry-like character when the wine is, when the grapes are fully ripe, that is imparted to the wine. And oftentimes the tendency these days is to have Pinot Noir very ripe, and so that the Pinot Noir gets to be more pruny or raisiny character rather than the bright sort of blueberry or raspberry typical of Burgundy style wines. This wine is fermented in open top fermenters. It's actually punched down. The cap rises to the surface and is punched down and mixed around in the wine. It's then pressed off after dryness, and after the fermentation goes to complete dryness, and it's aged in the French oak barrels. Pinot Noir has just been an outstanding wine with a whole diverse amount of different foods. I think it works beautifully with grilled fish. I enjoy it with fish as well as with beef, or great with vegetarian food. So there's the lineup of our wines, all Burgundy style, all with their distinctive label, which really sets them apart, one from the other. And again, with a traditional twist-off cap, which is being very well received in the marketplace. So I hope you enjoy.